Hello everybody, happy Sunday, happy winter solstice, Merry Christmas, happy holidays to everybody. Sunday, 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 here we are. So I want to start out by telling everybody to grab a pen and paper if you're able to, or just something to take some sort of quick little notes on. Not a lot. You can even use like your phone or some sort of electronic notepad on your computer, phone, pen and paper, nothing, just something to jot down some things on. So throw that out there right at the beginning. Have pen and paper handy if you are able to this week. Going to be looking into the new year a little bit if we can. So happy Sunday. Hope everybody is having a great day. I know I've had a great weekend, so I hope you all are as well. I'll go ahead and put our intention up here. For those of you that haven't seen it, intention is always released a day early, so you can look for it on Saturday, so that way you can sit with it for a little while before we meet here Sunday and see what comes up on your own with the intention. So this week, our intention, I explore systems for greater harmony. I explore systems for greater harmony. So sitting with that for just a moment, grabbing pen and paper, we get ready to start our meditation. So we have a couple aspects going on this week, and they're all a little bit interconnected. Last week we touched on a little bit of the winter solstice. If you have been around here for any length of time, you know that I really, really enjoy the energy that we find within the solstices and the equinoxes. I have talked at length about how, at different points in times, about how the solstices and the equinoxes, they are the turning points and they are the anchoring points for our astrological wheel. So whether you are in the northern hemisphere, whether you're in the southern hemisphere, whether this solstice moment finds you like seasonally and like weather and geographically placed, whether it finds you in the middle of winter or the middle of summer or entering the first day of winter. We all have, when we look at the astrological wheel and we look at the story of the sun and the quality of light that the sun has, and as it goes through that astrological wheel symbolically, we are all within that same period of the darkness coming to its height right before it slowly starts to diminish. So Capricorn season, 0 Capricorn, that winter solstice point here in the northern hemisphere. Symbolically, Capricorn represents that time of the year where we are in the darkest time of the year. There is lots of unknown that is around. You can find these features within the way Capricorn energy shows up as well. All of the details that are related to the signs, they all relate to this quality of light story of the astrological wheel. So Capricorn finds itself in a place that is surrounded by unknown, by darkness, by things that you have to get through, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel and you can see that light. And Capricorn is very focused on moving up and towards that light in some sort of way. So you can see that symbolically through the sign of Capricorn. So that winter solstice moment, that pivotal moment for the astrological wheel, is just one way that people have related to the solstice and the equinox moments of shortest days and longest days of the year, and moments of the light and dark being equal or unequal. That light and dark, that play of light and dark, you can see that in so many different aspects of our life. Right here in our meditation, you can see it through the inhale and the exhale. So as quickly as we breathe in our air and we inhale, we come to a culmination of air. And just as quickly as we come to that height of having all of the air within our lungs, we quickly, we instantly turn into an exhale. So it's a representation of cycles, it's a representation of rhythms, and we see that in many, many different areas of our life. So I hope everybody is able to connect to that magical energy somehow. We had that magical moment yesterday. So coming off of that solstice energy into this week. So the few aspects that we have going on this week, they're all a little bit interconnected. Let me just, okay, my mouse, sometimes it goes over to the other screen. Okay, so the aspects that we're going to talk about this week are the Jupiter-Saturn square. We've been talking about that leading up to it over the last several weeks, at least a little bit. Mercury opposite Jupiter in the middle of the week. We've definitely talked about that one because this is the third time we've had that pass through in December. And then Mercury squaring Saturn, so you have both Jupiter and Mercury squaring Saturn, and then Venus squaring Uranus at the end of the week. I want to pull up a chart to, let's see here. Okay. I wanted to put up a chart to kind of show and demonstrate the aspects that we have this week and how they are interconnected. So I put up a chart. This chart is actually for Thursday of this week, where this is the moment that Mercury-Jupiter opposition is exact this week. And I wanted to use this chart just to kind of illustrate and show you in a visual way how these aspects are interconnected this week. So the first one that we're going to focus on is the Jupiter-Mercury opposition that we have going on. So if you see the lines that are in the middle, these are showing you where the aspects are. Jupiter is at 13 degrees of Gemini. So if you look at the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see the little glyph for Jupiter, and there's a 13 next to it, and then the little glyph for Gemini. That's where Jupiter is at. And if you follow that straight line that goes straight across the chart from Jupiter, you will see Mercury at 13 degrees of Sagittarius. So this is the opposition between Mercury and Jupiter. If you see the two lines that come off of those planets that go up at the diagonal, they are going to go up to Saturn at 14 degrees of Pisces. So you can see how we have this opposition between Jupiter and Mercury, while both of these planets are in a square to Saturn. When you get this formation where you have two planets in opposition and then you have another planet that is squaring both of those planets that are in opposition, you get this T-square formation. So you get this triangle formation where all three of these planets really are interacting in these separate aspects, but they are all interconnected through the commonality of the planets in the aspects. So what does that mean? That means that these planets are all working together in a way. However, they're all working together through tensions. They're all working together through challenges and things that they have to overcome because of the squares. So the opposition between Mercury and Jupiter has that polarity, has that polarization where it pushes and pulls. So there are ways in which these two planets are going to pull together, and there's ways in which these two planets are going to repel and push themselves away from each other. They're both being challenged by Saturn in a way. So that Mercury-Jupiter opposition that we've been talking about, it's in a way, it's these two planets helping each other when they both need help at the same time. It's a lot of contrasting energies coming together, but it's being able to get all of the different pieces of the energy that we need at the same time. So Mercury being a planet that wants to understand all the little pieces is in the sign of Sagittarius, that wants to see the broad view. It's a Jupiterian sign. Jupiter is the planet that wants to have that broad perspective and see all parts together and understand the whole workings of things. But it's in Gemini, the sign of Mercury, that wants to understand all little bits of information and pull in lots of little teeny tiny details, where Jupiter is a little bit more broad spectrum and broad picture. So you get this mixed bag where these two planets are looking at things in a way that they don't necessarily normally do, but in that way it brings in both aspects. It brings in a planet that brings in the quality for both of those planets to be able to look at things broad spectrum as well as looking at teeny tiny details. So focusing on the broad picture while looking at little teeny tiny details all at the same time. There's this way in which these two planets in opposition to each other in each other's sign, so they are in detriment. They're not in a sign that they are naturally comfortable in, where they are able to have their own abilities as well as the ability of the other planet. That can be contrasting. That can be a little bit of a tug and pull. That can be, wanting to look at broad picture, broad spectrum at things, but having to look at the little details. That can be wanting to look at the little details, but having to focus on the larger picture rather than being able to focus in. So there's this way in which these planets can pull together or they can push apart. Now, both of them being challenged by Saturn adds this serious tone and this focus to both of the planets. So it's like there's some sort of expansion of the mind while dialing in on the details, and seeing how these all relate to the structures, the foundations, and the inner systems that we have within our lives. Both Jupiter and Saturn, they both relate to the systems within our lives in different ways. Jupiter is our beliefs, our philosophies, our ethics, our morals, while Saturn is more the frameworks, the structures, the limits, and the boundaries. These two things come together and they create the different systems that we are a part of, whether it's the frameworks and the structure of the system, or the beliefs, the ethics, the morals, the inner workings of the systems. All of those coming together create all of the different systems in our lives. We have lots of different systems in our lives. We have habits, we have beliefs, we have the different processes that we are a part of, we have our different routines, our daily routines, our connections to other people, our connections to other systems. And there is a challenge to look at these systems this week through these collective aspects and looking at the broad spectrum, broad picture, as well as looking at individual pieces and details and seeing really deeply how these systems work and do not work within our lives. There is excuse me, just a moment. We have this moment this week where we are able to look at the different frameworks and the different structures within our lives, and how they are working or not working for us. There is a tension and there is a prompt for us to look at these systems and analyze them in a way that allows us to see what we want to bring forward with us and what we want to leave behind. With us coming into the new year and us being right on the heels of 2025, this feels like a really, really good time to look at what we want to bring into the new year with us as far as new things that we want to bring forward, and then what we want to leave behind that has not worked out well for us. The Saturn-Jupiter square has been building for a while, and we've been talking about how these different systems and structures are being called into question, how we're looking at what is working, what isn't working, what do we need to overcome, where do we need to preserve our energy, where is there some sort of struggle or some sort of strife that is not quite working, and what are the systems that have helped us, what has benefited us. Mercury coming into an aspect with both of these planets while the square is coming into exact gives us the ability, gives us the tools, gives us the resources to look at these structures, look at the beliefs, look at the philosophies, look at our morals and our ethics and the schools of thought that we subscribe to, as well as the bigger framework and structures of our lives and how all of those work together. This is a time of year where a lot of people are just kind of naturally reviewing the year, seeing, thinking, I don't know, everything that has happened, what has come out of it, what has not come out of it, what you expected, what you did not expect, as well as starting to make some goals for the next year. So it feels like the astrology that we have going on this week is allowing us to, is giving us a moment that is prompting us to look at these structures, look at these frameworks, explore the systems and explore them for greater harmony, looking at them for greater harmony because we also have this aspect between Uranus and Venus this week. So that's later on this week, we have Venus and Uranus coming into a trine. So these two planets are working together. Where can we break through somewhere? Where can we break free from something that is limiting some sort of harmony, balance, cohesion, love, joy, beauty, all of those Venusian things. So what are the systems that you need to look at? What are the structures? What are the habits? What are the different processes that you need to review that, like what is and what is not working in your life? I say review because Mercury is just coming off of its retrograde, so it's now direct, but it is just coming off of its retrograde, and this is the third pass through for Mercury and Jupiter. So maybe we've already started looking at the different processes and the different habits that are or aren't working, the different beliefs that we subscribe to, the different thoughts that we have and the different motivations that we have. Maybe we've already started through the month of December. We've started looking at those and calling those into question somewhat within this past month. So now that this is the third pass of Mercury opposite Jupiter, maybe now we are equipped with a little bit more information, a little bit more knowledge, or even just a little bit more contemplation to start to understand how these things either do or do not work together. So, yeah, I think it's a cool energy coming into the new year of what works and what does not work. When I think about the week of Christmas and I think about many, many people getting together with their families and large groups of people, often we have like very functional groups. We also have some that are a little bit more dysfunctional groups. So with all of these squares, it makes me wonder about tensions between people. But there is, anytime that there is any sort of tension, there's an ability to overcome, and there's an ability to move forward and to press on. So I also think about like, you know, maybe there's some sort of hesitation or tensions between people at some sort of gathering, but then maybe we're able to cohesively each still be able to like share our side and be fully, each person can still fully be themselves while coming together in that moment and kind of breaking through in this Venus-Uranus type way somehow. So I explore systems for greater harmony. I explore systems for greater harmony. The systems that are in our lives, systems is very broad. All of those different interworkings, all those different interconnections, they're being called into question this week, and they're being called into what is working for you and what is not working for you. Where are the systems that you are building? What systems have you forgotten about? What systems do you need to go back to? What systems do you need to leave behind? What frameworks have not been working for you? So maybe this has you kind of thinking about the different things coming and going within your lives a little bit, and what you know, some of the goals that you have going on in your own mind and things like that. So that's what I'd like to bring into the meditation this week, is I'd like to look at some of our goal setting and just in a very broad spectrum type of way. Some people may already have an idea of where they want to go, the things that they want to bring forward, the things they want to let go. Some people may not. So with that pen and paper that I asked you to get, I think as we come into our meditation, before we get to the pen and paper, one last reminder to anybody that jumped on kind of late. Grab yourself a piece of pen and paper or something to write on, a little notepad on your computer or your phone or something like that in just a moment. But first, the tarot card that I pulled this week. So shuffling the cards, looking at what we have going on this week, the card that comes up is the King of Cups. The King of Cups. And I thought that was kind of interesting because we have some, we have tension, we have squares, we have energy to overcome, we have those scratchy aspects that give us energy that makes us uncomfortable enough to make us want to move a little bit. And then the King of Cups shows up. The King of Cups is a poised, masculine energy of emotional maturity. There is stability and there is the ability to convey emotions as well as connect with others in a deep, solid, sound way, connecting to our own emotions, connecting to our own life force, but as well as being able to connect with others at the same time. So this tells me that if there are challenges, if there's challenges within the systems, there are ways that we can overcome and we can get through that within our own emotional maturity that we have cultivated through the different steps of these processes. And I say through the different steps of these processes because Jupiter is retrograde and because Mercury is just coming off of its retrograde. So that means that there has been some fluctuation, there has been some back and forth between these planets. The square between Jupiter and Saturn is a little bit longer, it's a little bit more of a slow burn. So looking at these different structures and looking at these different systems, looking at the way that we communicate with others and the way we connect with others, while looking at the signs that these planets are in, Saturn being in the sign of Pisces, the watery sign of connection, collective energy, and Jupiter being in the sign of Gemini, an air sign that likes to communicate, that likes to bring in different information, share different information. Both of them are collective and connective signs. They're signs that connect us to other people, to other thoughts, to other realms. So it feels like this King of Cups coming through is saying that you have this strong connective energy, this strong emotional maturity and stability to be able to work your way through rationalizing, but not looking at it from only a rational point of view, looking at being able to rationalize while still staying true and feeling your emotions and your heartfelt desires. So it feels, that card coming through feels like it softens the energy in a way, but strengthens it in another way. So yeah, that's the card that I wanted to, that came up, and I thought that was, I thought it was very reassuring given the aspects that we have going on this week. So, back to your pen and paper. I want you to get your pen and paper out, and the first thing I want you to do is I want you to write down 3 things that you want to let go of. This is just super simple, super easy for the meditation. So write down 3 things that you want to let go of coming into the new year or into the next phase, next cycle, or whatever it is that whatever kind of timeline. 3 things that you want to let go of. I'm going to do the same thing. And then I want you to write down 3 things that you want to bring in. So 3 things you want to cultivate, 3 things that you want to continue, 3 new things that you want to bring in, just 3 things that you want to let go and 3 things that you want to bring in. And these three things, when you are ready, you're going to use these in the meditation today. So we're going to focus on these different systems within our lives of the things that are working well for us and the things that are not working so well for us. So the things that we want to bring in and the things that we want to let go of. You can focus this on the new year, or you can just focus this on this moment. But I think we have really, really good energy this week for looking at things. You know, I use the word exploring because I didn't want it to sound too, my first word was analyze. I didn't want it to sound too serious, but Saturn really brings in a little bit of a serious tone as far as like a focus on something. So having us looking at something deeply and focusing intently on it, giving our full attention to something. So there's this ability to really just laser focus in on these different systems and the way they work and the resources that they bring to us or don't bring to us. Okay, so the intention, I'm going to go ahead and pull that down. I'll give you one more moment to look at that. I explore systems for greater harmony. I explore systems for greater harmony. Exploring the systems of what works for us, what does not work for us, and setting us up for moving forward in the most positive way that we possibly can. Okay, I'm going to move the intention. And you may notice that we have a yellow candle here instead of a white candle. I thought with the winter solstice and that symbolic rebirth of the sun, so you have that moment of death of the sun where the sun is at its darkest point in the astrological wheel, and then just as quickly as the sun dies, it's reborn again. Okay, so just as quickly as the sun, the dark reaches its strongest period and the light reaches its weakest or shortest period, that instantly starts to change where the sun slowly starts to increase. So now, if you're in the northern hemisphere where it lines up season-wise as far as astrological-wise, then now each day you're going to slowly have a couple more minutes of daylight. You don't start to notice that right away, but just as quickly as as the dark comes into complete dominance and having complete control, that instantly is handed over and starts to shift into moving into the light. So symbolic of that light coming back, I wanted to use I thought it would be cool if we used a yellow candle instead of a white candle. These candles, they're from the same place, so they are infused with orange essential oil, and on the packaging she has that they are for joy, purpose, manifestation, creativity, confidence, and happiness. So I thought that the orange candle and the orange oil would give us some good energy of moving forward and coming forward in a step of confidence and a step of happiness and understanding and being able to manifest and create what it is that we want to bring forward, which we have really, really good energy for looking at those things this week. So yellow candle instead of white this week. I'm going to go ahead and light the intentional candle as I always do, and I'm going to repeat the intentional phrase as I do so. As I repeat that intentional phrase, I encourage you to go ahead and repeat it with me in any way that you are able to. So, I explore systems for greater harmony. I explore systems for greater harmony. I explore systems for greater harmony. Light our intentional candle. As I light the candle, flame ignites. As the flame ignites, it begins to grow. As the flame on the candle grows, so does our intention. I explore systems for greater harmony. I explore systems for greater harmony. I look at the systems of my life. I look at what has come into my life that serves me well. I look at the things that I want to cultivate, things that I want to bring into my life. I want to manifest, I want to take the steps forward towards. And I look at the things that I want to let go of. I look at those things that have come into my life and have served their full purpose. I look at the aspects of my life that may not serve my highest power. I look at those things that have taught me lessons but are no longer needed. I look at those things in my life that will not go away until I learn the lessons that are behind them. As always, let's start our meditation by taking just a moment to acknowledge the level of energy that we have come to this space with. Let's start by taking a moment to check in with our breath and the quality of the breath that we have at this moment. Here we are acknowledging the breath. We are not judging, we are not changing or altering. We are acknowledging and honoring the quality of the breath at this moment. There are many, many systems within our lives. There are many systems right here within our body, right here within this vessel that we reside in. There is the digestive system, the respiratory system, it moves air and oxygen throughout the body, the cardiovascular system that moves blood and the nutrients and oxygen that it carries throughout our body. There is the endocrine system that brings hormones across our body, balancing, leveling. Many, many different systems that work independently as well as cooperatively together. The respiratory system works on its own, processing the exchange of oxygen and carbon. Balancing the gases and the oxygen within our body, within our lungs, and passing that on to the cardiovascular system, to the heart, where it can be transported across the entire body. So the lungs work on their own to bring air in and out of your body, exchanging oxygen and CO2. Moving those particles on towards the heart, where they can be distributed across the body. Systems working independently and cooperatively. Just as these internal systems work independently and also cooperatively, so do all of the external systems within our lives. Our daily habits and our routines, the processes that we go through each and every day, our beliefs, the philosophies that we hold to, our morals, our ethics, our views, the greater beliefs that we subscribe to and uphold our actions to. The greater community systems we are a part of, local groups, those that we interact with, the job that we hold and what we do for work, different governing bodies that hold power over us in different ways. Our relationships and our connections to others. All of these different systems play a role in our lives. Some of them may work more efficiently than others. They all serve a purpose. Some of these systems seem greater than our own autonomous being. But some of the systems, our small habits and our routines, the environments we subject ourselves to, the thoughts and the beliefs we subject ourselves to, there's a lot that's within our power, a lot that's within our own agency and our own ability to explore. Coming into new year, as 2024 wraps up, we move towards 2025. What three things that have been a part of your systems, of your own personal and collective systems, no longer serves you, that you are going to leave behind in 2024? This could be anything that you think of, the first things that come to mind that you wrote down on your list. I want you to take those three things that you wrote down, and I want you to verbally release them. If you are in a place where you feel that you can say them out loud without any hesitation, feel free to do so. If you don't feel it, you can say it completely out loud. Feel free to mouth the words or write them down once more. But see these words, hear, feel these words leaving your body as you say them, voice them, write them down, bringing them out of your lives. And as you say or write down these 3 things, visually see them floating further and further and further away from you. Perhaps you see the words floating away. Perhaps you feel the feelings floating away. What the 3 things have been a part of your life or that you've held on to that are not serving you well? Together, let's take a nice deep breath in. And on the exhale, I want you to breathe out through your mouth, and I want you to visualize the exhale blowing away the 3 things that you were releasing. One more time together. Inhaling in, blowing away what you are releasing. Now on your next inhale in, I want you to visualize the 3 things that you want to bring in, that you want to cultivate or you want to continue building as you move into 2025. The next inhale in, breathing in the 3 things that you have on your list. And breathing out the 3 things that you are releasing. Next inhale in, breathing in your 3 things you bring in. Breathing out the things you release. Inhaling what you bring in. Exhaling what you release. Continuing, breathing in, breathing out. On the inhale, breathing in what you are cultivating, what you're bringing closer to you. On the exhale, releasing your 3 things. Repeating the same 3 things each time. Lasering in, focusing intently on the Saturnian structure and framework of these systems within your lives. Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius, exploring the broad horizons, bravely, confidently, and optimistically, setting out to go where perhaps we have been hesitant to go before, dreaming big about the things that we can bring in and cultivate. Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, bringing a magnifying glass and a curiosity to the new information that comes into our being. Perhaps the old system has worked well. Perhaps it still works. Perhaps there's parts of it that we need to bring forward with us while cultivating small new parts to create a new system. Curiosity of information, communication, marrying that with our philosophies and our beliefs, the broad horizon. We have the ability to bring in and let go simultaneously at the same time. Just as quickly as Gemini likes to bring in new information, it likes to disperse and share details and information as well. Saturn squaring both Mercury and Jupiter simultaneously brings in a focus, perhaps a seriousness. To look at the bigger collective view of all the systems within our lives, how they connect us and disconnect us from ourselves, others, and Source. This week, I encourage you to set a plan, include the details, the big and the small, and stick to that plan. I want you to take one more look at your list of three things to let go of, 3 things to bring in. And know that even though there may be some challenges you may have to overcome, you may have to work hard to let go of these things and bring in these things. But you also have the maturity and the stability to connect to that deeper connective energy between each and every one of us. And that, just like the King of Cups, is your strength. Your strength and your guiding light. Thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up through this meditation, not only for the meditation, not only for me, not only for the group, the others that participate along with us, but most importantly, for yourself, your own development, and your own connection to Source and to yourself. Because really, any changes that we want to make anywhere in life starts with ourselves. And there's an ability to look at those things that may need to be changed this week. Maybe having to take a hard look at these systems, these beliefs, these foundations, and these frameworks, but being able to lay out a plan. So I think this is a good week to be able to create however you make plans for the new year's, however you make goals, resolutions, whether you write things out, whether you make vision boards, whether you come up with lists, whether you dream big or you come up with a very, very precise step-by-step plan. I think there's this is a good week to look at those things, and even throughout the busyness of the holidays and whatnot, just really zoning in on what it is that you want to cultivate and what you do not want to cultivate, and not being distracted by other things that pull you out of your goals. We all have goals that we want to work towards in some way or fashion, and this week there's the ability to focus in on things and make plans and structure things in a way that allows us to see the whole picture as well as the small little details. And when you can do both of those, and you can have like a serious contemplation, you can come up with a really, really, really good plan, I think, sometimes. So that's what I have for this week. I hope everybody has a really, 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 really great week. I hope everybody has a wonderful Merry Christmas. And I hope that everybody has just enjoys the magic of this time of the year in one way or another. There's a lot of really, really, really good things this time of year, but there's also a lot of people that really, really struggle for a lot of different reasons. And I always like to acknowledge that, because this time of year can be like people can be forced into things and situations and scenarios that make them uncomfortable, or there's just a whole wide variety of things that happen this time of year for some people and experiences. So I hope everybody has a great week, and I hope everybody is able to tap into the magic in big ways and small ways in a Jupiter mercurial fashion. But seriously, planning things this week for next year, planning on making any sort of game plan for the things that you've been wanting to cultivate. It's a great week for all of that. So thank you. Merry Christmas to everybody, and I will see you next Sunday. Take a look next Saturday for the intention, and I will see you all next week. Have a great week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.